chapter 3, text 43, 3.43. Evam buddhe param buddhva संस्तभ्यात्म मान आत्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम् एवं बुद्धे परम बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्म मान आत्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. Okay, so in this 43 verse, kind of solution is given. Steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, that is Krishna consciousness. Okay. Purport. The third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is conclusively directive to Krishna consciousness. By knowing oneself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without considering impersonal wideness, the ultimate end. Okay. So, Prabhupada is saying that the third chapter is, what is the conclusion here given? It is directing us towards Krishna consciousness. What is that? The knowledge of our eternal position, our constitutional position. What is that? Jivir Sarupoy Krishnera Nityadas, eternal servitor of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. Without considering impersonal wideness, that Nirvisheshvadi, Shunyavadi, that concept we are not, and that is, one should decline, it is, one should reject. In the material existence of life, one is certainly influenced by propensities for lust and desire for dominating the resources of material nature. In the material existence of life, one is certainly influenced by propensities for lust, because we are under the modes of material nature. So certainly, till the point we are having this material existence, we will be forced or influenced by the lust and desire for the controlling or enjoying the resources. So that's the nature of Jiva, who is under the modes of nature, that he want to enjoy, he want to control over material nature. He want to control. So that's what, even in our, if we closely look into our intention in our heart, so that what we'll find, that somehow that I have a desire to control, desire to enjoy, a desire that everything happens for a no, what we have to think that, okay, thank you. Okay, so everyone, if we closely look into our intention in our heart, we will find that somehow or other we have this desire that things should happen as per my desire, my wish. The way I want, everything should happen accordingly. That's the idea. Okay. If I want now, today's sun should come little late so that I can sleep more. So then, sun should come late. And I have some office work pending. So, time should go slow. So, it should go slow. So, everything should happen accordingly. That's the idea I have. That is the cause of my material existence. Okay. Because somehow or other, that's what is our nature now become, or perverted nature, we can say that. Jiva is having this idea, this to control over material nature, to dominate material nature. So desire for overloading and for sense gratification, this desire to lord it over material nature, control material nature, or desire to enjoy sense gratification is the greatest enemy of the conditioned soul. Okay, these desire only, our desire to enjoy our senses, that desire only is our greatest enemy, Prabhupada ji is saying. But what to do? What is the solution? But by the strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses. Okay, so that's the solution. The strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, the mind and the intelligence. So, Indriya, Mana and Buddhi, everything can be controlled by the power of Krishna consciousness, by the power of holy name. So one may not give up work and prescribed duties all of a sudden. But by gradually developing Krishna consciousness, one can be situated in a transcendental position without being influenced by the material senses and the mind by steady intelligence directed towards one's pure identity. So one should not be afraid that I have to leave everything. But what Prabhupada is saying, that one may not give up work and prescribed duties. No need to give up all of a sudden. So don't think that all of a sudden you will be forced to give up everything, all the prescribed. No. Gradually one should develop Krishna consciousness. Gradually one should involve in the Krishna conscious activities, and then he will have that gradual progress. He will slowly get interested. Slowly he can get detached. That is the process. Okay. So one can be situated in transcendental position without being influenced by the material senses and the mind. Okay. So gradually one should try to develop Krishna consciousness. Okay, and then he will be beyond the influence of material senses and the mind. Okay. How? By steady intelligence directed towards one's pure identity. So that spiritual intelligence is being taught here. That spiritual intelligence gradually directs us towards our pure identity. What is our pure identity? Pure identity, that I am soul, I am servant of Krishna. That's my pure identity. Because when I am situated in my pure identity, then what happens? Then I will act on my pure duty. Because when I consider myself as an Indian, which is not my pure identity, then I am doing wrong activities. And that is why I am not satisfied. Why I am not satisfied? Because I don't know my pure identity. I know my false identity. So due to that false identity, I engage myself in false activities. Because when I am considering myself Indian, immediately as an Indian, these are your duties. Immediately. Definition is there. So you consider that I am a Brahmin, so immediately these are your duties. So as soon as you decide one identity, you are a father, these are your duties. So to know our identity is the main goal. The first step is to know who am I actually. So when I understand that I am servant of Krishna, so these are your duties. Perform bhakti. These are your duties, right? Okay, so that spiritual intelligence directs us towards our pure identity, and when I know that I am servant of Krishna, so my duty is to perform bhakti. Okay. So this is the sum total of this chapter. This is the whole summary, Prabhupada is saying. Okay. This is the sum total of whole chapter 3rd. That one should gradually develop in Krishna consciousness. One should gradually progress in Krishna consciousness and come beyond the influence of material mind, senses and intelligence. Yes? In the immature stage of material existence, Prabhupada is saying that in the immature stage of material existence, philosophical speculations and artificial attempts to control the senses by the so-called practice of yogic process, that is Jnana and Karma, Okay, so yeah, Gyan and Yoga, philosophical speculation and artificial attempt to control the senses, Ashtanga Yoga like that. And by the so-called practice of yogic postures can never help a man toward spiritual life. So these things cannot help. Okay, so what can help? Only pure bhakti. So he must be trained in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence. What is that higher intelligence? Higher intelligence is Krishna consciousness. So one should be trained in the process of bhakti by the higher intelligence. What is that higher intelligence? The knowledge of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, or the instructions of Guru. How Guru gives you idea that you should do this and that. So that is the higher intelligence. So following that, one should be trained in Krishna consciousness, and in this way one can bring him out of the influence of material senses, mind and intelligence, and one can come out of the material existence. Okay. So, knowing that the soul is higher than material senses, mind and intelligence, because previous shloka the levels or the hierarchies explained. So one understands that the soul is higher than material sense, mind and intelligence, then one can take a stand to defeat the enemy. So that is the what is that strength? Is by spiritual strength one can conquer this lust, which is very powerful enemy. Okay, so images of lust arise in the mind and attack the intelligence. If defeated, the intelligence is commanded to make plans for fulfilling the lusty desires of the mind. Thus lust enters through the senses and conquers the mind and intelligence. So essence of chapter 3 in summarized way. Number 1, do not give up work and prescribed duties all of a sudden. Number 2, greatest enemy of conditioned soul. What is that? The desire for overlording and for sense gratification, which are manifestation of lust. Number 3, gradually develop Krishna consciousness, and then one can be situated in a transcendental position, unaffected by mind and senses, by the help of steady intelligence directed towards one's pure identity. And then the 4th, chapter 3 is conclusively directed towards Krishna consciousness by knowing oneself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and not the impersonal wideness as the ultimate end. Okay? So in immature stage, Prabhupada is saying that in immature stage, philosophical speculation and artificial attempt to control senses by yoga fails to help. That means this Ashtanga yoga or different kind of Jnana yoga, these all things will not help. The only thing which will help one person coming out from material existence is one must be trained in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence. So only Krishna consciousness process, only Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, only this process of bhakti will help, no other. So with pure desire, continuously, without any interruption, with a pure intention and without no other ulterior motives. Okay, pure intention and no interruption. That bhakti will bring us spiritual happiness, bliss. Okay. So that is the solution. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So that's what thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 3rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Karma Yoga, or the discharge of one's prescribed duty in Krishna consciousness. So here ends this 3rd chapter, and tomorrow, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we will start 4th chapter.